Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men all my life. Like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you. You've got Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to spend time with yourself, find your purpose, and aim to be wealthy with Dandapani and my take on his top 10 rules of success, volume 3. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Stay narrow and deep.
I talk a lot about focus, and I think, one thing I've learned, having lived here in New York and having my own business, is that opportunity is one of the greatest distractions in the world.
I agree.
It totally is. If your opportunity is not aligned with your purpose, then it's a major distraction. Mm-hmm. When I left the monastery and I started building my business, and once it started to grow, I had so many opportunities coming my way, people that wanted to partner and do things and new projects, and I was all excited. And I said, I can do all of this. And I remember speaking at an event in Toronto, the Mastermind Talks, which our friend Jason Gaynard runs. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman that spoke there, Mark Echo, and after he spoke at the event, we were backstage, and I asked him, and this was a few years after I left the monastery, I said, Mark, and he had built $1 billion business from nothing.
Yeah, Echo. Right?
Yeah. And I asked him, I said, hey, if you had one piece of entrepreneurial advice to give an ex-monk who's learning to be an entrepreneur, what would it be? He said these words: stay narrow and deep. And I love that. And that's become my mantra: stay narrow and deep. He says, as you start to grow and scale, you'll find so many opportunities coming your way. Right. But if they're not aligned, don't take them.
Rule number 2, spend time with yourself.
But if I wanted to get to know you and Christoph really well, I have to spend time with both of you. So just say if I lived in Hamburg and every week we went out to dinner or lunch and I spent 2 hours with you and Christoph, then after a year, the three of us would get to know each other very well. Because every week you're spending 2 hours with me. You know what I like, what I don't like, when I'm cranky, when I'm upset, what makes me happy. Most people never spend any time with themselves. So how would they know what they want in life? Right? So the only way I can get to know someone is by spending time with them, right? So if you ask someone, how much time do you spend with yourself? Most people say, they don't spend any time. They say, oh, when I walk the dog, that's when I spend time. That's my alone time. I say, no, that's you walking the dog.
Because on one hand, you're walking the dog, and then on the other hand, you're probably on your phone.
Yeah, or if you live in New York, you're avoiding traffic, trying not to get run over. And so if some people say when I go to the gym, that's my alone time. No, you're lifting weights. You can't call that alone time. When I say alone time, I mean sitting down in your home quietly, no headphones, no music, no nothing, your eyes closed, maybe sitting cross-legged on the floor if you can, if not sitting on a chair, and just going inside and asking yourself questions, having a conversation. And people say, oh, I don't have time for that. But it's so fascinating, right? If someone, all I say to people is spend 5 minutes with yourself every morning, having a conversation, the same way I would have a conversation with you and your husband. But people say they don't have time. But if their friend calls them up and say, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? They'll say, sure, let's go out for dinner. And they'll spend 2 hours with their friend having dinner, but they don't have time for themselves. Do you know how many 5 minutes there are in 2 hours? There's 24 5-minute segments.
Yes.
That means you can sit with yourself every day for 5 minutes for 24 days straight if you skip dinner. People will make time for other people, but they won't make time for themselves.
Rule number 3, find your purpose.
I'd say in general, most people aren't happy because they don't know what their purpose in life is. Mm-hmm. And that's something I get quite often, that people come up with me with a lack of clarity of what they want to do in their life.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I was sitting with a group of entrepreneurs when I was traveling around the world recently, and after my event they took me out to dinner. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting with 4 guys at a table, having had dinner, and we were having a glass of wine, and I just asked the question, what's your purpose in life?
Yeah.
And nobody could answer me.
All entrepreneurs?
Yeah. All 4 of them, nobody could answer me. What's your purpose in life?
So is there a way we can find our purpose in some way? I know it's a hard question.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are ways, unfortunately, I can't squeeze it into a video. But yeah, I think one of the questions I get often asked back when I ask that question is, do you even need a purpose in life? You know, every day we have a goal. You go to the bathroom, there's a purpose, right? You just don't walk to the bathroom and go, I'm not sure why I'm here. Right? You go to the kitchen, there's a purpose because you want to eat something or drink something or cook or something.
Yeah.
So our day is full with some purpose or another, so it's great to have purpose in life. The main reason for having purpose in life is so that you can focus your energy towards one thing and it doesn't get distracted. When you know what you want, you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest gift, because then you can say no very easily. You know what kind of guy to say no to if you're dating, what kind of girl to say no to.
Yeah.
Because you just know this is not what I want. Most people say yes to everything and everyone in their life because they don't know what they want. So figuring out your purpose is really, really important. And I would say to even begin that process, spend 5 minutes a day with yourself every day in silent reflection.
Yeah.
That would be a great way to start. Find a quiet spot in your house, sit down for 5 minutes and just no phones, no books, no notepads, nothing. Just you. And ask yourself what you want in life.
Rule number 4, aim to be wealthy.
You talked about, having a business, and can we also then pursue spirituality? I think one of the big things, in the 4 goals, wealth, this is the second one. A lot of times people say to me that, if you're on a spiritual path, you shouldn't be pursuing wealth. Like money and spirituality don't go hand in hand. And it's actually a concept that in the philosophy I subscribe to, it's not what it's preached. One of the goals actually as a household is to be as wealthy as possible. And that's why that goal, wealth, is right in there next to love. Right? So it's love, wealth, dharma, then enlightenment. And the concept here is that if you're wealthy, then you can look after your family, you can meet all your needs, which is part of your dharma, doing your duty to your family. You can also then help your community and impact the world. Because the only way you can impact the world is if you had resources to do so.
Right.
If you had no money, how could you go out and impact the world? How can you clean up the oceans? How can you help schools or orphanages or feed the poor? You can't. You need wealth. So the acquisition of the wealth is really important. And a lot of times people, especially with what I do, people look at me as a Hindu priest. I'm dressed up this way. They see I have an online course. They see me speaking. They're kind of like, why is he making money off spirituality? And I'm like, why is money a bad thing? People look at money as a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. I mean, it depends on what you do with it. But you can pursue a life of acquiring wealth and scaling and growing that wealth, and yet still pursue a spiritual life. How do you use that wealth? That's a different question.
Also, if you want more motivation and self-love, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
No one on planet Earth can stop you from accomplishing and achieving what you want. It's easy to make a buck, very hard to make a difference.
The quality of your life is essentially determined by how you carry this one. Yes or no?
Rule number 5, value life.
Once you value your life and you realize, I always say that life is finite. Life is not short, but there's a clear, definitive end. And once you realize that life is finite, then you start to make choices. You start to realize what is important. I have one life. I don't get a second shot at this. How do I want to live my life?
Rule number 6, develop your concentration and willpower.
Grab that ball of light, that awareness, and consciously move it to any area of the mind that you want to go to. And if somebody or something is pulling that awareness to an area of the mind that you don't want to go to, you use your willpower and your powers of concentration to bring awareness back to your present moment or to wherever it is you are at that point in time. So the 2 things we want to learn how to develop is the powers of concentration and our willpower. How do we develop concentration? Let's define what concentration is first. I'd like to define concentration as the ability to keep your awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. So that ball of light, if you can hold it on one thing for an extended period of time, you're concentrating. But if you allow your awareness to jump from one thing to another all the time without any control, then you're being distracted.
Rule number 7, visualize.
What is visualization? Let's define it. Visualization is the conscious exercising of the power of thought to create mental images that help create and design the future, right? So you're exercising the power of thought so you can create mental images that can help manifest and design your future. It's important to know that everything begins in the mental plane first before it manifests in the physical plane. We think about something first, and then we start to create it in the physical plane.
Rule number 8, believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, believe in your ability to create. One of the greatest ways to overcome fear in life is to know that you actually have the ability to create and manifest things in your life. You truly do. And in order to create and manifest something in your life, you have to understand how your mind works. Because once you can understand how your mind works, you can control it. Once you can control it, you can direct it. And you can use the powers of concentration that you've developed to focus in on what you want. And when you focus your awareness on something, that's where your energy is flowing, and that's what starts to manifest in your life. So once you start believing in your powers and to create, proceed with confidence.
Rule number 9, find your path in life.
I remember going to my cousin's house for a birthday party, and my brothers and I were really excited about it, and parents said we're going to go this evening, and so we're waiting all day to go to the party, and then we get in the car and Dad drives us over there. That was the creation part of it, and then we go and we experience it, and at the birthday party and eating cake and playing with balloons and playing with my cousins, and then we get in the car and drive home. And I remember looking out the window and going, "That's it. It's over. Everything is over." So what's the constant in life? Mom says she's going to take us out for ice cream tonight. And so we're all excited all day and talking about what flavor ice cream we're going to get. And we go out and get ice cream and enjoy it. And then it's over. Right. And people, they live and then they die and then it's over. So I'm like, what the heck? I mean, what's the constant in life? What is it in life that does not change?
And is that what underpinned your search and wanting to become a monk? What is the constant?
Right, exactly. What is there? I couldn't accept the fact that life was just that. Those 3 stages of creation, experiencing, and then watching it all just go away. So there must be something deeper to it. And I found that the monastic path was the most efficient way to finding that answer. I could have gone off and become an engineer and done all that stuff, but it wouldn't be an efficient way to try and find what I was looking for. So that's why I joined the monastery.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is improve your productivity.
I think, with technology in the workspace, I think there are no guidelines, right? People don't set up guidelines. One of the things I talk about, when I work with companies and about cultivating focus is that there's no way to tell someone in the workspace, especially if you have an open floor plan, that what's your status right now? So for example, do you use Skype or have you used Skype before? Well, you can set your status as offline, busy, on a call, not available, right? And when you see someone as offline, most of the time, I think most people will never try calling that person if they're offline or if they're not available, or it says do not disturb. You don't try and call that person, right? But in the workspace, in an open floor plan, there's no way to set that status. There's no way to inform. So what happens is someone is working on their computer, they might be doing accounting, trying to solve some complex accounting issue, and then someone comes up to them and goes, "Hey, John, do you know where the photocopy paper is?" So now he goes, "Oh, it used to be in this cupboard. I think they moved it over there. Have a look over there." He goes like, "Oh, thank you." So that guy goes to get the photocopy paper. Now John goes back to his accounting and he's lost his train of thought. His awareness was so deep in it trying to solve something complex, and now his awareness moved to the person to talk about photocopy paper, and now he comes back and he has to try and get back to where he was, and he may not. And especially if you're doing something creative, I remember working with a fashion company in LA, and they said the same thing. Their designers sketching the fall collection. Someone comes and asks them a question or says hi. They turn, they say hello. They turn back to continue to sketch, and now they've lost their mojo. They've lost their flow. So because there's no way for the person working to tell that person what their status is. So one simple solution I tell companies is to have a simple flag Like you drive on the street, there's traffic lights. Red means stop. Orange or yellow means go faster. No, prepare to stop, right? And green means go.
Right.
So what if you had a little flag on your desk? This is, as an example, it doesn't have to be a flag, but you had a little plastic flag on you, and you say red means do not disturb me. I am immersed in something really important. But what you do is within the department, just say if you're in the design department or the accounting department, there's 10 people in the accounting department. All 10 people have a meeting, and we set the status as red means do not disturb. But below it, we outline the conditions upon which you can interrupt. So if the building is on fire, yes, you can disturb me and let me know, all right? If these conditions are not met, don't disturb me. Then if it's an orange flag, then you can say, okay, I'm doing something important, but it's not super important. So if these conditions are met, you can interrupt me. And if I have a green flag, it means I'm just working. If you want to come by and say hello or you want to interrupt me, it's fine. So that way, someone walking will see a flag and go like, oh, it's a red flag, I shouldn't disturb that person. Now you increase productivity and efficiency in the workplace because there is a way to inform other people in the workspace what your status is.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Dandapani on how to meditate that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. Where do you need to improve your productivity? Number 2, how can you believe in yourself more? And number 3, how will you spend more time with yourself this week? And if you promise to take action after watching this video, we don't just watch videos anymore, we do something after watching them. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments, make that promise to yourself, and then get to work.
Preparation is key. It is really important to prepare for your meditation. The same way if you had an important guest coming to your home and you wanted to welcome them, you would prepare your home, you would clean your home, you would place flowers, you would maybe cook some really nice food and prepare to welcome the guests. Or the same way an athlete or performer might prepare, warm up before they go on stage or on the field to compete. They prepare as well. It's so important to prepare as well when we meditate. Preparation is key for meditation, and if you prepare well, you'll meditate extremely well.
If you want more Dandapani, check out the first top 10 rules I made on him. The link is right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Any monk that tells you he's never questioned the path or never thought of leaving is lying to you.
We live our lives like we're going to live forever, but the truth is, we don't live forever.